Hello friends, welcome back to part 2 of the Boeing 737 full flight video from East Midlands Airport to Kastrup Airport in Denmark. We have been cruising nicely at 37,000 feet above the sea, and we are roughly 40 miles away from our top of descent waypoint, and still haven't heard from ATC about our arrival instructions, so I'm hoping to get that shortly. We also haven't started hearing the ATIS information, but what I did was to get the weather information for our destination airport. So QNH is 1015, winds are from 230 at 5 knots, so that's likely that we will get runway 22 according to the wind information, and no significance in weather. Temperature is 13, dew point is 11 degrees, and that's the weather information for Kastrup Airport. So there's the top of descent marker, and we should hear ATC hopefully very shortly calling us for our arrival instructions. Otherwise we need to do something about the descent part. This is always something that makes me nervous with beyond the ATC. I think, in my opinion, we should have heard from the ATC by now, because we are less than 20 miles away from our top of descent. But let's see what happens. I like the surprise factor. Again, I hope this is a fun video to watch for you, and thanks for being here. And we will wait for the ATIS information or hearing from ATC, and then I will talk about what we need to do to prepare the aircraft for descent. Mainly, those things are pretty much getting the ATIS information, setting the altimeters, which we can do right now, and set the QNH to 1015 as a standby on our primary flight display. Radios will be set for the required frequencies. MCP altitude is what we need to reset to start our descent, and calculate our approach performance, or landing performance rather, and then set the ILS frequency and the localizer courses to our course indicators here on our main control panel. And that's pretty much it until we start descending. I think we can call for ready for descent, because it looks like they are not going to really contact us. So let's see what happens if we do that, because I am just worried that we are going to be late to descend the aircraft. Bremen radar, World Express 1850, ready for descent. Okay, at least we are given 3,000 feet, so we will set the altitude. It's gonna take a while to get down to 3,000 feet, and then we will worry about the departure part, or arrival part, I'm sorry. At least we know that the aircraft will start descending, because we have the MCP altitude set to 3,000 now, and we are given Tudlo 3 Alpha arrival, and I'm expecting ILS to runway 22. But let's wait and see if we are going to get anything after this handoff.
Copenhagen Control, World Express 1850, descending via Tuttle 3 Alpha, flight level 353.
World Express 1850, Copenhagen Control, identified.
Okay, Tuttle 3 Alpha is going to give us runway... Oof. probably runway 04 left. So let's set the FMC for an ILS to runway 04 left, and let's wait if that changes. No transition. We will execute this and check the legs page to make sure we don't have any discontinuities. Looks like we will have some vectors, but we will keep it there for now. And for the ILS, we can set up the frequency for now and then change it later if it's necessary. So we should be descending now. Yep. So let's turn the passenger signs on. And the ILS frequency for our arrival is 110.5. So we'll go to the ham radio 110.5. We'll keep it at standby for now on both sides. And the final approach course is 037, which is easy to set. Okay, so let's calculate our performance according to what we have selected in the FMC. We are expecting 04 left. We will import the aircraft details. That's our landing weight. Auto brakes, we can probably do auto brakes 3 or 2. I'll select for 2 and see what happens. Calculate. Yeah, that's good enough for me. So we will keep this here. Reference speed is 147. And we need to go to the index page, approach. We are gonna do full flaps landing. That's the plan. ILS frequency and course is verified. And it's giving us a 136 approach speed. This is all we need to worry about for now. What flap setting we selected here? Flaps 30. Okay, let's change that to flaps 30, and that aligns a little bit better with our reference speed that we have seen in the performance calculation. Alright, we will keep descending like this until we hear from ATC for an arrival or approach instruction, and I will bring you guys back when we are ready to cross below 10,000. Welcome back, friends. We are getting close to 15,000. I decided to bring you guys a little bit early because when I was checking the communication with ATC, looks like I missed the runway given to us, which was 04 left. So we selected the correct runway, and that's why it's important to listen to the communications properly for your arrival runway. So runway 04 left, so everything is set for 04 left anyway. QNH is 1015 given by the ATC, and we are descending down to 15,000 now. So far so good. We are monitoring our VNAV path, looking at the course deviation indicator here when the diamond is centered, which means we are not deviating from our calculated VNAV path, and we should be good. Everything is set for 04 left, verifying that once more. And we have 79 miles to our destination airport, and we are expected to arrive at 0908 Zulu, which is in about 18 minutes from now. So as I said, we have some vectors that we are expecting to hear from ATC right here, from Airpuk to Charlie India 04 left, which should be one of our, that's our initial fix, I believe. So, but we can also go direct and calculate our FMC. So that will change our VNAV path slightly, but we will be able to get back on course. We have some restrictions on our arrival route, mainly speed restrictions for 200 knots or below, and only altitude restriction, as far as I know, is in our next waypoint, and that's below 12,000 feet, which we will be meeting without any issues. So that's the deceleration waypoint. Aircraft will start slowing down to 250 knots, because that's also the speed restriction at our next waypoint. Let's increase or decrease the range, and we might get an FMC message to use the speed brakes to help aircraft slow down to 250 knots if it would be necessary. But looks like we are doing just fine, and the VNAV have calculated that and accounted for that slowdown and pitch, slight pitch, pitching the nose up to slow the aircraft to 250 knots, which looks like is working perfectly. Other than that, monitoring the fuel, we have 3.5 tons and our expected arrival fuel was 3.3. It was 4, so we lost 100 kilograms there, but so be it. It's still more than our 2.5 tons of reserve fuel for our alternate airport if something goes wrong. Other than that, we are good. We are really good. Passing below 10,000, we will turn on the landing lights. And while we are descending, we haven't done the checklist yet. We have done the flows. And one thing I haven't verified, which I said I will, is the airport elevation. So it's 17 feet, so it's reasonable to keep it at 50. So landing altitude, and then we can continue with the descent checklist. Anti-ice is not required. Landing altitude is set. Recall is checked. Radio altitude, that's something we need to set here. That's why we have the checklist. For the ILS, the decision height is 222 feet, so we can set the barometric. Let's reset this. 222 is what we are looking here. It is gonna take some time to set this.
Castro, World Express 1850, flight level 114 with information uniform.
Alright.
World Express 1850 Castro
That's now set. Let's sync our. Okay, we are going to expect radar vectors. That's why it's important to keep your heading box synced.
Radar vectors for ILS runway 04 left. World Express 1850.
And our initial fixed altitude or glide slope altitude is 3,000 feet. Our final fix is Charlie India 04 left, where we should start descending and capturing the glide slope. So coming down to 10,000, beautiful view of Copenhagen in front of us right there. Very nice. The aircraft is managing the throttles and the speed. We are at 250 knots and all looking good. I am going to keep the approach page here and legs page on the co-pilot's FMC and keep descending to 3,000 feet. We are very close to our destination now, and the ATC might start giving us instructions for the vectors very short, because I don't know if we are going to take this weird turn to intercept the runway heading, or if we are going to get a shortcut by vectors to turn right and get to that waypoint, which is airproc right here. We will see about all that very shortly. Below 10,000 now. We should turn the landing lights on as well as the runway turn-off lights. Just a little bit more to turn the engine starter selectors to continuous ignition. Below 10,000, so that's descent checklist below the line. We can set the altimeter to the local pressure setting now while we are below 10,000 and do the checklist. Altimeter is reset to local, speed is below 250, landing lights are on, passenger signs are on. Descent checklist below the line completed. So the next checklist is the approach checklist. That's what we are going to wait, and hopefully we will get some instructions from ATC for those vectors to final. So we are still following the flight plan, which is fine. Waiting for the ATC to contact us. We are below 250 knots, but I'm not quite ready to start extending the flaps. But once we are at the next waypoint, I'm gonna go flaps 2 and then continue extending flaps to control our speed and prepare the aircraft for approach. I like to configure a little bit early. It's better to be safe than sorry, so that's what I like to do. But you can also wait just a little bit more because we still have some weird turns until we intercept the runway. A little bit more to Charlie Hotel 734 waypoint. An hour 15 minutes in the air. And beautiful flight so far. So another thing is the MSA, minimum sector altitude, which we can utilize the fix of 25 miles. That's the radius, and I entered it incorrectly, /25. That will display a 25-mile ring around their aircraft, and the minimum sector altitude is 2100 feet, so we are safe. Missed approach altitude is something we need to be aware of. That's 3000 feet. And the transition altitude for Copenhagen, in case we need to divert to our alternate, is 5000. So everything is set for our approach now, and we are waiting for ATC to start giving us vectors for final, which would be after this waypoint. They will probably give us a left heading to intercept the runway. So let's go flaps 2 and open the speed window and set the speed to 210 knots, which is the clean flap speed, or 205 here, so we can go as low as 205 or below 2 because we have the flaps. So let's set 200 because I want to configure just a little bit early when recording videos, just to be safe. Alright, the aircraft is slowing down. We are still on profile, nothing to worry here. Little bit of stutter in the sim. My apologies for that, but this time to time happens, especially when flying into large cities like Copenhagen. But overall, we're doing just fine. Look at the views here. In fact, Copenhagen is a beautiful city. I have been there twice in real life, and there are a lot of things to see. Very historic city, great food, and a lot of places to visit. We are below 5800. Speed is coming down nicely. Can reduce the speed down to 180 knots and wait to cross below flaps 2 speed to go flaps 5, because we don't have much distance left to the runway and I want to be at a good speed to make the turns without overshooting them, and like to have enough time to configure the aircraft for landing. So far everything is looking great. We are still on profile according to our course deviation indicator here, and looks like we are holding 5,000 because we have a 4,000 or below here, so we should keep descending until airpuck. Speed is coming down nicely. Actually we are holding 185 for some reason. Let's go 175 or 170. This will increase the time to arrival, but as I said, I like to configure a little bit early when recording videos. So we are below flaps 2 speed, we can go flaps 5. We can arm the speed brakes now. And speed brakes are armed. Altimeter is set. We'll do the approach checklist. Altimeter is set, localizer frequency is checked, course is checked, 037 on both sides. Approach, we are not ready to arm it yet. We are waiting for the glide slope needle. Flaps 5 selected and indicated. Speed brake is armed, and we will wait for the ILS to do the rest of the checklist.
World Express 1850, lever puck heading 195. Expect radar vectors for ILS runway 04 left.
That's fine, you need to be careful because I forgot to sync my heading, so now it's gonna take awful amount of time to get to the current heading. But hopefully we will set the bug and wait for ATC to give us the vectors. So leave the star heading 195 is the instruction we are given, and that's exactly what the aircraft is going to do, but we will set the heading to 195 to be aware of what the aircraft is going to do.
1850, turn left, heading 210, vectors for the approach.
Okay, heading select.
Heading 210, World Express 1850.
Turning left, heading 210. And the sim is stuttering just a little bit. We are almost at our profile altitude. Waiting for more vectors. We can drop the speed below 165 now and go flaps 10. We are below flaps 5 speed, flaps 10 selected, and flaps 10 indicated.
Turn left, heading 140.
Turning left.
Turn left, heading 140, World
140.
Express 1850.
We can at this point arm the localizer. Localizer is armed and glide slope is seen. That's 140. That's perpendicular to the runway, and there's one more left turn we need to execute to, or the localizer capture will just make that happen for us. We will see. Dropping the range to 10 miles now. Terrain on ND, just to be aware of our surroundings.
9 miles from CI-04L. Turn left, heading 075. Maintain 3,000 feet until established on the final approach course. Cleared ILS runway 04 left.
That's what we were waiting. We are cleared for ILS.
Heading 075.
And
feet until established. Cleared ILS.
We are waiting for localizer capture, so that's a direct course to intercept the localizer, and the aircraft should take care of the rest. Somehow we are not descending to 3,000 feet. Okay. Now we are descending. I was a little bit worried, but VNAV is doing a good job here. And everything is looking beautiful. Nice. So we should see the localizer capture. There it is, the localizer capture. Then we can go flaps 15. Flaps 15 selected now. We can go to 150 and actually set the approach speed of 14. Well, we are not quite ready for that yet, are we? Alright, landing gear is coming down. That's that horn, I believe. And we can go flaps 25. Okay, there we go. The aircraft was screaming at me because of the landing gear. Glide slope is coming down. We can expect to capture, so let's arm the approach. And we will wait for the glide slope capture now. We'll keep extending flaps to 30. Flaps 30 selected, and we can complete the landing checklist. After the glide slope is captured, which it is now. So glide slope captured. Missed approach altitude is 3000, so that's set. Runway turn-off lights are on. Landing gear is down. Autopilot and auto thrust are still engaged. And we are waiting to get a little bit closer to take control of the aircraft and complete the landing. Right, looking for the airport, dropping the range to 5 miles now. And everything seems to be great. There is the runway in front of us.
World Express 1850, contact Castrop Tower 121.83.
And then we will call the tower for establishing on final.
World Express 1850. Castrop Tower, World Express 1850, ILS runway 04 left.
World Express 1850, Castrop Tower, wind 225 at 5, runway 0 for left, clear to land.
Okay, we have the landing clearance.
Runway 04 left, clear to land. World Express 1850.
It's very nice. Radio altitude is displaying here. 1900 above sea level. And we are in for a final approach, and hopefully a nice one. Okay, time to go continuous ignition on our starter selector switches or knobs. And we are gonna wait to disconnect the autopilot and take control of the aircraft. Everything is looking nice. I will wait just a little bit more until we pass below 1,000 feet, and until we are a little bit closer to the runway. Actually, this was one of the good flights that I enjoyed quite a bit. I hope you guys did too, watching the video. And we are about to finish this flight, hopefully with a good landing. at Kastrup on runway 04 left. Almost at 1000 feet, checked. And we are about to take control of the aircraft. Just waiting a little bit closer because of that tree line right in front of me. The approach speed is set. We will disconnect the autopilot. My aircraft following the glide slope and trying to bring her in, losing the glide slope just a little bit, so maintaining and looking the puppies to make sure we are not gonna drift. Looking nice.
Approaching minimums.
A little bit off to the right, but we will correct that
200 minimums.
when we are about to touch down. 3 red.
100.
Okay. Passing the threshold.
50.
Auto throttle disconnected. Throttle's idle.
30. 20. 10.
Touch down. Nose is down. Full reverse. And manual braking. "60 knots, reversers disengaged, flaps are coming in, and speed brakes are stowed." Now we need to vacate the runway from the last exit, because that's where we are going to go for the cargo terminal. So that's why I'm letting the aircraft roll all the way down to the end of the runway, and we will vacate, stop there momentarily, and then receive our taxi instructions for our parking position. This should be the exit, braking just a little bit, slowing the aircraft down,
World Express 1850.
and then we will
Exit left at Delta.
exit left
Exit left at Delta. World Express 1850.
as instructed.
World Express 1850. Contact ground 121.905.
Very nice.
Ground 121.905. World Express 1850.
Right, we will hold the aircraft here, clean everything up, and then contact ground. Landing lights coming off, taxi lights coming on, runway turn-off lights we will keep, strobes are coming off, and we are going back to nav lights, steady. We will start the APU. Probe heat now can come off, window heat can also come off. We will contact ground, and our parking stand should be in the east apron or east terminal, and probably something like Golf 133. Okay. Kastrup ground, World Express 1850, requesting taxi to the cargo ramp.
World Express 1850. Welcome to Kastrup Airport. Stay parking or advise if need assignment.
Let's take a look. We request ramp Golf 113, World Express 1850.
World Express 1850. Ramp Golf 113. Taxi at pilot's discretion.
Ramp Golf
Okay.
113 taxi at my discretion. World Express 1850.
So that would be A little bit interesting, but so be it. We will keep taxiing. A little bit of throttle to get her moving. While we are taxiing, we can clean things up just a little bit. Set the heading to 0 and keep taxiing. Speed to 100, heading to 0. Altitude back to 10,000. Somehow I'm not able to change the course for some reason. We will leave it. That's probably because of the FMC flight directors. We don't need them anymore, so we can turn off the flight directors and keep taxiing. So according to where we are, we need to taxi to the right to Delta and cross runway 12. Oh no. Yeah, we need to cross runway 12, so we'll go here. Keep taxiing. We will need a little bit of speed, so let's give her some thrust. Can turn it, take another right turn. Cross runway 12 and then follow the taxi routing on the chart to get to the cargo ramp. Okay, I am not gonna ask you guys to sit here and watch me taxiing. I will bring you guys back when we are ready to park at the stand. See you in a little bit. Friends, welcome back. We are almost at our parking position. We are crossing another runway here. And we will be at the cargo terminal once we clear this runway. While I'm taxiing, I did the after landing flow, which consisted of bringing the flaps back into the retracted position and stowing the spoilers, transponder back to standby, landing lights off, runway turn off lights on, APU bleed is off, on, APU generators are also on. And that's pretty much it. So let's complete the checklist, even if it's like late to do the landing checklist. I wasn't recording, so I decided to leave it to a later time. Transponder is standby, flaps are retracted, speed brakes down, landing lights off, strobe lights off, taxi lights are on, NTIs not required, APU is running, probe heat off, engine start switches are off, auto brake is off. Runway turn off lights are off, APU generator is on, and taxi lights we will turn off at the stand. So the stand 113 should be on our left side here. We will take a left turn. And one thing I probably forgot during landing is to set the auto brakes to true, but manual braking took care of everything, so I'm not super worried about that. But that's something I missed that I realized and caught myself. Okay, the next stand to our left should be 113. Do this DHL. Let's slow it down just a tiny bit. And end of this cargo area is 114, so this stand to our left should be 113. So turning the taxi lights off using my controller and making that left turn to the ramp. Oh, now it decided to place an aircraft there, so we'll just park to 114 instead. Thanks FSLTL for ruining my end of video. But I can't wait for Beyond ATC to release the version with traffic injection. That would be epic, where the other aircraft also interacts with the ATC. But this is our parking spot. I didn't do a good job parking, I believe. Oh, not bad, because of that last minute change. But here we are at the stand, pulling the parking brake on, and we are ready to shut the engines now. But we will check a couple things before we do that. APU generator and APU bleed is on. Isolation valve is open. Packs are on, which is fine. Now we can turn off the engines. Right engine, left engine coming off. Anti-collision light will be turned off below 10% and 1. There it is. Turning off the anti-collision light. And now we can request the chocks and everything else we need to secure the aircraft. So going back to the menu, actions, ground services, chocks are in place, ground power is requested. Engines are off. And we can request deboarding from GSX, I guess. Looks like I have to update GSX based on this message. So I'll do that after the video. And that's the deboarding. There's another DHL pushing back, which is great to see. Ground power is now connected. Cargo door, main cargo door is opening. So I guess we can engage the ground power, disengage the APU generators, APU bleed, and turn the APU off at this point. Then turn off the fuel pumps. Turn off the yaw damper. Turn off the IRS switches. Passenger signs are also coming off. Electric hydraulic pumps are coming off. That's pretty much it until the deboarding is completed, and then the rest is shutdown and securing the aircraft, which doesn't have a lot to do. It's just turning the packs off, cabin lights off, exterior lights off, standby power and battery, which you can do later. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a very fun flight for me. Thanks for being here with me today in the second part of the PMDG 737 cargo operation from East Midlands Airport in the UK to Kastrup Airport in Copenhagen. It was a very fun flight. I did forget one thing, which was setting the auto brakes, but that happens time to time when I'm recording videos. My focus is in different places, but I'll try to remember that next time. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider giving the video a like, and if you stumbled upon this video but not a channel subscriber, please take a couple seconds to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications to get notified for my future videos. Again, I wish you a pleasant day for the rest of your day, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.